नो प्रॉब्लम, नो प्रॉब्लम। आप दे दीजिए, आप उसको दे दीजिए प्रॉपर जस्टिफिकेशन के साथ में, वो बैंक से सबमिट कर देंगे, उसके बाद में इतना बड़ा
चेंज ऑप्शन ही नहीं
इधर प्रिंटिंग ही वेट जाओगे सर।
नहीं बारिश ना क्या हुआ
हेलो मानसी मैडम जी, अपने ये वीडियो में पीछे का ब्लर ऑप्शन कहाँ से आता है? बैकग्राउंड या वीडियो फिल्टर?
वर्चुअल बैकग्राउंड इमेज है क्या आपके पास इधर?
नहीं, इधर तो कोई इमेज नहीं है। का इमेज पीपीटी वाला देख लेते हैं।
हाँ वही बोल रही हूँ।
तो बैकग्राउंड में पीपीटी में रहेगा मेरे पास।
किसमें है?
आईसीएस कॉमन में चलना में। मतलब सत्पुन सर का ओल्ड डेटा का फोल्डर ही है पूरा।
आपने क्या आईसीएस सर्ट में?
हाँ
आईसीएस कॉमन।
हाँ इधर चलना डेटा में सत्पुन का ओल्ड डेटा रहेगा।
इसमें टेम्पलेट।
हाँ टेम्पलेट नहीं, ये टेम्पलेट मास्टर
हेलो। यस मैम। हाँ मैम।
डालना तो फटाफट जाके जगह पे।
देख रहा था मैं वो लड़कियां क्या हो गया? वो तो ठीक है, लेकिन अकाउंट तो माइनस होगा, तो लॉस होता है। वो एडीएफसी का तो माइनस में पढ़ाना है ना जी। तो करना कैसे? तो कितने की आ रही है? काय से ले रहा? फ्लिपकार्ट से? अरे उसमें महंगे जाएंगे यार, से फ्लिपकार्ट पे जा। आओ बैंक से देते हैं, समझ गया। अच्छा। तो ये भी कोई डिस्काउंट थोड़ी ना देंगे।
हाँ, sequential fold है क्या?
हाँ कहाँ
मैंने एक बाहर ही इमेज रखा है।
मेरी बात सुन, जो मेरा कार्ड है ना, तो ऑलरेडी वो सुनील वर्मा को दिखा लिखे, वो तो बजाज
किसी में इमेज
वाला
सपोर्ट नहीं कर
डीएफसी पे कुछ नहीं चल रहा है। देखना एक बार वो उस पे मेरी बात सुन, इस पे ट्राई कर ले एक बार, देख क्या, तो वो भी भेज रहा हूँ। वही तो नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, लेकिन तो ईएमआई, लेकिन ईएमआई तो कर लेगा ना। नहीं, लेकिन मैं उसको बिना उसकी कर देता हूँ, उसमें ना डालते हुए डायरेक्ट ईएमआई कर देता हूँ। चल रहने दे, मत 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 कर, क्योंकि मेरे को प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी।
बम्पर फटा हुआ है।
हाँ तो कुत्ता जोर से लग गया होगा।
लेने का दिक्कत
अरे नहीं नहीं गाड़ी क्या करा? नहीं सर ठीक नहीं।
पॉलिसी है, पॉलिसी टोयोटा इसलिए देती है कि मल्टीपल जितना को क्लेम ले डालो उसको।
अरे नहीं सर
नहीं लेना, फिर उसको बम्पर पे चेक कराना है। फिर बम्पर फटा, मतलब बम्पर को चेंज करा देना है इससे।
वो मुंह का लगेगा तो कार वार्स हो जाएगा।
तुम्ही बघत असाल लागलं तर तू क्लायंटशी बोल मला काय आवाज येतोय
Good morning and warm welcome to you all. I am Mr. Shashank Deshmukh, your host for today. I welcome to each and everyone for 96th virtual webinar Our topic for today is 5S methodology by Mr. Yogesh Jain sir. He shall be covering 5S terminology and methodology. What is beyond 1S and 2S? Presentation replete with bad and good picture and successful cases, followed by question and answer session. Let's quickly go through agenda. Virtual inauguration by Dr. Sundar Kataria. Invoking the blessings of deity, chanting of Gayatri Mantra. Introduction of speaker. Presentation by Mr. Yogesh Jain sir. Question and answer session. Closing session. A brief introduction of Dr. Sundar Kataria sir. Sadgun Sang, conceived and led by Dr. Sundar Kataria. Driven with a mission to elevate the quality, safety, and environmental awareness levels of industry. Sadgun Sang is a series of educative, informative events aiming to illuminate professionals on possible solutions to current issues of industry and economy. His designation and organization. He is Chairman and Managing Director in International Certification Services Private Limited. His academic qualification is he has done mechanical engineer in AMIE. He has done honorary doctorate in business management. His experience in nuclear RAPP. He started his career in building India's first nuclear power plant at Rawatbhata, Kota, Rajasthan in oil and gas EIL. He contributed in developing India's first oil and gas field at Bombay High since its inception in DNV. He was head of industry and offshore development with DNV for 2 decades in ICS. He is founder of first Indian conformity assessment and inspection body known as International Certification Services Private Limited, which is a provider of a totally quality solution under single umbrella with wide spectrum of services. His achievement and awards. Lifetime Achievement Award of NSE Corcon. He received several national and international awards. I request Dr. Sundar Kataria to virtually inaugurate the session.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
Please join us for the recitation of the Gayatri Mantra. Introduction of the keynote speaker. His designation and organization in Director and Chief Consultant in Niche Quality Solutions Private Limited, India. His academic qualification in B in Mechanical, MS in Consultancy Management, MTech in Future Studies and Planning. His area for specialization and experience. Mechanical Certified Lead Auditor for ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 45001, FSSC 22000, BRC, HACCP, ISO 27001, Information Security. He is Certified Internal Auditor for IATF 16949, AS 9100, ISO TS 22163, ISO 50001, ISO 37001. He is trainer for Z, Six Sigma Green Belt, Black Belt, Core Tools. Please welcome Mr. Yogesh Jain sir. Over to you, sir. Please welcome. Please welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You can start, sir.
Hello, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Shall we start?
Yes, sir. You can start.
Hello,
Yes, sir. You can start.
yeah, shall we start now?
Yes, sir.
So this is 5 years a strategy for performance excellence by Niche Quality Solution Private Limited, Indore. What is 5 A's? 5 A's are housekeeping principles which are important step in waste elimination and achieve lean manufacturing. Actually, they are world-class manufacturing tools, and one of the first step is 5 A's, in which the main aim is to clean the place scatter-free and clutter-free so that the environment becomes conducive to implement many other tools of world-class manufacturing, which will ultimately lead to lean implementation and lean organization. So that will help the organizations to go in a world-class way. Next slide. So what is housekeeping? We have been knowing from our Indian way of doing things that whatever we do in Diwali for dusting and removing all the waste that we have accumulated over here, it is a similar method adopted by Japanese people in the workplace to understand what all should be done so that the workplace becomes clutter-free. It's a systematic approach to workplace. It involves arrangement for cleanliness, discipline, and maintenance of standards. So somewhere the standards will also come into picture. There is a place for everything assigned, and we ensure that everything should be in its place. Every person in the organization is required to be responsible at his place, and top management is also required to audit various portions of the company as per audit schedule, so that involvement of each and every person is ensured, and that way commitment is also trickle down and people are able to observe that. Therefore, this becomes the starting point of any improvement activity. Why 5S? As I told you that this becomes a starting point for any lean implementation activity. So to improve on cost effectiveness and efficient working, 5S becomes a basic building block. It helps in breakthrough improvement in work, reduces waste. Since we have several waste, one of them is higher production time, higher production level. So working on 5S also reduces production costs and time. There are several other tools like JIT, TPM, TQC, TQM, which are going to be implemented in better way if 5S is implemented. So 5S helps prepare that foundation. It can be said that journey of productivity starts from 5S. So these are the Japanese word and parallels in English. Series stands for sorting, Ceton stands for systematic arrangement, CISO stands for shine, that is cleaning inspection and cleaning, Shiketsu stands for standardization, and Shitsuke stands for self-discipline. So we will go by sorting, systematic arrangement, shine, standardization, and self-discipline. We will take each of them one by one. Sort. Sort means that you remove all items from the workplace that are not needed for current production operation. During production or during our day-to-day activity, we gather a lot of things which we have a tendency to accumulate. They might be useful 1 year later, they might be useful 6 months later, they might be useful after 1 month, they might be useful after 1 week. In that order, we sort the products or clutter, and those things which are going to be needed after long time or may not be needed, those we try to sell it off so that they fetch value, and whenever they would be needed again, they would be acquired in the better shape in a fresher way. So such kind of things also realize a lot of value, and other things are kept at a different vantage location. For example, if something is needed 1 year ends, like a flag of Indian flag is required on 26 January or 15th August, then you keep it in some place where these are going to be fetched or retrieved once those are going to be retrieved once in 6 months. So it can be on the loft or it can be in the office almirah in a very secluded space. Some tools which are required for preventive maintenance in 3 months time or 6 months time, they can be again stored in such a fashion that they are not available at the workplaces, eating up precious workspace and diverting our attention. So idea is that you have to keep something handy which is going to be useful today or within weeks time. And this whole activity therefore helps in our 1S and 2S achievement. Actually 1S and 2S of 5S becomes to 70 to 75% of the whole game. And once you achieve this, then you should go on proceeding with 3S, 4S and 5S. So with explanation of sort, I have tried to give you how we'll have to understand the whole 5S methodology. Workplace or observation, you have to look for target area. So we develop teams, and in the teams we say that you go area wise, you identify the purpose and function of the target area, what is that required for. You develop an area map, what all material are required, how many people would be required, what kind of equipment flow is there. You photograph the problem areas and try to sort out what is required over there compulsorily, what would be not required. There is a methodology of red tag in which we develop tag for each of the item over there. If the item is in doubt, if it is not required just now, if it may not be required in near future, we move it out. So first idea is, when in doubt, move it out. If we don't know what it is going to be used for, move it out. If we know that it is going to be useful, but it is going to be useful, say 1 year hence or 2 years hence, still move it out and we will decide about storing it at some other place. You prepare those tags, put those tags on those kind of products or items. Such kind of unneeded items then can be taken to dinosaur burial ground. So there is unnecessarily bullet. Burial ground should be the continuation of the previous bullet. At dinosaur burial ground, idea is that we have collected all the unwanted items which we would be able to list and then take decision on where to take them to. So last step is of evaluation of red tag item. What we would do with all these collected items. Some we will dispose, some we will keep in such location which are not going to clutter our workspace. Some we would need handy and some we would need handy but at some distance point of time. So then some may not be at our table, it can be on the loft, 2 feet above, 3 feet above, or like that. So what are the things that are under process, things that are behind machine or under it, things broken inside the machine, things that are on the racks platform, excess work in process, stock of unnecessary products, products waiting for rework for long time, products waiting for disposal, products called for trial but lying even after trial is over, products not utilized for a long time. These are the items.
Sir, sorry to interrupt in between.
Take
Sir.
out in the sort process.
Yogesh sir.
So idea is, you should not love your own products if they are not going to be useful just immediately. That is the key methodology behind SERI step. There are a lot of tools, toolings and measuring devices which also get accumulated. For example, old GX tools, modified tools, worn out items like bushes, liners, toggles.
Yogesh sir.
This presentation is prepared mostly for mechanical background, but such kind of things must be applicable to hospitals, to electronic industry, to textile industry, and the terminologies might be little different, but activity required is to be done in a similar way. You can have broken tools and beds, you can have measuring equipment which you created for some product development activity, but which is just not useful now. Similarly, if you have developed some kind of contingency parts, emergency spare parts, broken down or leftover unnecessary parts, and you retain it just because you didn't know what to do about it, those also should be taken out and taken to dinosaur burial ground with red tag. Closets and cupboards, they house a lot of unwanted useful items. For example, you can have nut bolts, some kind of files, some kind of papers, files, you can have grinding files also and paper files also. In the pathway corner, some kind of broken dust is there, dustbins are there, tidbits are there. You must have put some kind of nail, which is just not useful. So if it is not useful, you can even take it out. And those things also can be spruced up. Areas like behind pillars and under staircase, these become very, very prominent areas to dump something which is not required right now. And those become very bad to look at. Walls, notice boards. So anywhere such kind of unwanted material which gets stored or stuck, even paper, that should be taken out. Floor partitions, defective products, packing material, nut bolts, tools, toolings. Such type of items once fallen are generally not picked up. So those keep lying over there, and in the cleaning, the housekeeper person does not know what to do about it. Sometimes they'll keep them at that place only because they feel that if it is metal, it must be costly, and they are also asked not to move anything of importance to them, and therefore such kind of things continue to lie. Computer hard disk. So we say the 5S has a huge applicability even in our laptop and computers. Our Gmail, which has 15 GB data, lot of people have used something like 13, 14 people have made 4 Gmail accounts, and unwanted mails, promotion mails, marketing mails, several Quora kind of things, LinkedIn kind of mails, which are of 5 years ago, 10 years ago, keep accumulating in our accounts. A lot of people must have even passed away. Some of them, some of people have changed jobs, and still we keep those bills. Those things should be taken into housekeeping through this 5S methodology. Some pictures, the kind of clutter, these are actual pictures of a organization where we undertook 5S activity. In the short, these pictures were taken in the pre-analysis. So we have a spare jug. We have some iron patti, then table, then broken wood material, some kind of broom also is available. Jhadu bhi dikh rahi hai. Floor is very oily, dusty, cotton waste under the staircase. Cup is also found over there above this locker. Now this is so shabby. Open wire ends done up with insulation tape, used grinding wheel. These are machine parts, but under it you would find some earthing strips which are shabbily there, and some earthing strips are lying unused. There is the iron rod which is used to press the strip. So have a proper arrangement, but don't use anything that comes handy. It might be a temporary arrangement, but it should be done permanent. Under that, there is a wooden plank also. On the side, you would find a iron plate or iron this thing, and under that also there is a nut or bolt. These are lying in the corner, which is a very common area for dumping unwanted things. So corners, under stairs that we have been writing and telling you. Under table in a very shabby way. See this oil, drums. Now this also becomes a fire hazard. We don't know what must be inside these drums, for how long they are lying over there. Are they leaking? So if the floor is dirty, probably they are leaking also. Cap is also not there. Something may fall into it. If by chance somebody steps on it, the drum may fall. The contents may get onto the floor, and it may become a slippery hazard as well as fire hazard. Wooden plank, woven set piece, wire, ring, a little better area, but on the right side we can find several ring type structures which should be moved as soon as possible. We are able to see 2 white drums. They look to be kept neatly, but if it is the defined place, okay. It does not look like to be defined place. It looks to be coming in the way of working. So should be avoided. These Castrol drum and other drum, this does not look to be defined way. So in 5 ways, we also say that when we move to other steps, you should have place for everything. That place for everything can be defined by marking the color boundary, so that we understand whether if the product is moved or item is moved from that place, whether the item says moved would be very clear, and we will be knowing that. So this is a fire extinguisher stand. We say that this should have an obstructed entry. We have wooden planks in front of it. Then dustbin is also there. Over a period, this dustbin might have some kind of oil stored cotton waste stored in it and would become a fire hazard in itself. Grease box, shabby floor, some kind of rods under it a long time ago, but no use now. So dumped on the ground under the pipes might fetch a very good value. Bundles of pipe material might be useful, but over it there is a topless stand. So since the top might have gone somewhere else, this stand is no more useful, is now dumped over here. And this pipe stand or pipe material is lying on two planks. One of them is not in the right shape. So again, something has to be done about this also. Drum is lying beyond yellow bay marking. So not a good practice. You have a lot of temporary activity like the rope is being tied. The drums are under the sands. You can see on the left side some woven sack containing certain material. One woven sack is lying on floor. So these things are just not good practices. If you spruce it up, it is good. If you do not, or probably in the process of sprucing up, probably you will find out a lot of unwanted things which can be taken out with rat tag on dinosaur burial ground. Some kind of foundry improvement activity or earth improvement activity or some civil work because of which some bricks might have been brought from outside. Work is over, bricks are still lying there. So this is unwanted. Then there is a cable which is running on the floor, might become electrical hazard. Under the tank, lot of cable must be there. Whether they are useful or just lying there, we don't know. Should be removed. And if these cables are with copper or aluminum, they can fetch a very good price. Lying over there is just not doing any good for the organization. Under the tank, some kind of dirt, dust, and greasy or oily material is also spilt over there. So this also has to be taken care of. Outside areas, lot of bags, some kind of development activity must have been there with steel sheets or GI sheets. So contractor must have worked and kept the things as it is and ran away, taken his bill. As a company, we have to be very clear what do we do about our exteriors. Exterior also become hazardous. Sometimes in the rains or in some kind of accident, these become very risky items. In the fire stand, people have put up their clothes. Tiffin on the right side, and just beside substation, you have steel sheets, then woven sack, tarpaulin, construction material, that is bricks and your gitti, those things, and unused panels, all are lying over there. These are actual photographs of a client company. Again, fire extinguisher is found blocked by wooden almiras. So in case of fire, you won't be able to access that. This needs to be sorted out. In the office, lot of office equipment get purchased, but the boxes are kept as it is. Sometimes these may be having old and used office automation, printers and computers and PC and CPU. These should also be sold as soon as possible so that you do not have unnecessary clutter. This is another picture of shabby documentation and filing work. So you will have to look for right paper at various places if it is not organized properly. Table looks okay, but a good person or good organized person would not have so many papers at 4 or 5 places with one is table. So again, he would not be able to work very efficiently. This is an example of red tag, how it looks like. It has fields for name of item, section, quantity, why it is taken out from that area. What action you would decide later on is also decided over here. And first 3 rows are filled up when you take the material out. Then at an appointed date after 2 or 3 days, some team is appointed to decide on action. Once the actions are decided, those things are re-jumbled into right this thing. And the target date is decided of 2 or 3 days again, when these have to be moved to right place or decided places. Those which are just not required should be sold out or given as scrap to outside parties. This is how the red tag disposition has to be done. And mind you, 5S is an ongoing activity. If you do it now, it does not mean that you will not accumulate waste after 3 months or 6 months. So this can again be repeated every 3 months to 6 months, and you would go on improving your 5S makeup of your company. So you develop a register, a summary of red tag item, which can have useless item, number, the red tag number, date, reason for taking, notes for disposition. So all such red tag that we have physically put on our item and decided about it can be summarized, and then the decision can be taken about what to do about all these items. These are the possible disposition categories. Obsolete, you can sell, you can hold for depreciation, you can give away, you can throw away. In Japan, they have a clear aspect or a clear concept. If the thing is not going to be useful beyond 1 year, if use is not known, better sell it out. Defective, you return to supplier, you throw away. Use about once per week, store in area. Use less than once per month, store where accessible in plant, not in the area. Seldom used, store offsite or in distant place, maybe store yard, maybe at some other company go down, or sell or give or throw. Use unknown, store until information is found. Otherwise, sell it. Something which is handy, required every day, must be kept in the department near your working area. This is how we'll have to take action on each of the item. Then we move on to SITON, that is systematic arrangement. This means place for everything and everything in its place, such that it is easily accessible to everyone. The benefits are very clear. You save time lost in searching otherwise, and time lost in material saving. You have to organize as per necessity. You have to label for easy identification. We have been doing this activity in our stores. We label each shelf. We could put bin cards. But then in the SITON arrangement or systematic arrangement, we go by the whole of the shop floor where labeling becomes very prominent. You even mark your computer place with a yellow boundary of a tape. Within your shelf also, you monitor some, you put some kind of thermocol in which you have place for your stapler or your punching machine or your pen. And the moment you open a shelf, if something is missing, you can at a glance come to know of it. If the pen is missing or a stapler is missing, that is another advantage of SITON. So systematic arrangement helps in a very big way. And as I told you, 1S and 2S combined, gives you a lot of advantage in organizing your workspace. Problem solving with the help of Ceton, you ensure the waste is moved, it can be surged. There is a physical energy that goes into waste management that is resolved or that is economized upon. The product that become defective either is moved out as soon as possible, or because of good arrangement, the product becomes less defective. So the whole area becomes much better and workable, and unhealthy or insecure environment is replaced by a better environment. How to obtain systematic arrangement? Ensure where things are. So these should be there. Ensure and decide how they need to be arranged. As I told you, like in the first shelf or first drawer of your office, you have to have right kind of things that you need handy. For example, you need a punching machine, you need a stapler, you need a pen, you need a scale or ruler, if you need a sharpener or so you make slots for each of them in your thermocol this thing. Similarly, for computer, for mouse, for printer, those kind of space marking is done on the table. For working areas, if you have shadow boards for tools, so that whenever a spanner is removed or whenever a tool or jig is removed, you would come to know of it. And in the evening when people go back after doing their shift, they are trained to put back their tools, jigs, fixture, something is missing or something is faulty, arrangements can be made for getting replacements. Follow set rules for organizing and arranging them. So these rules are nothing, no outsider is going to develop. You have to develop by our own understanding, whatever suits us, and these are very common sense oriented requirements. How to ensure where things are? You develop standard for labeling. People go for font size or plate or vinyl plate or some kind of radium stickers. They decide method of storage in bins or shelf, or depending upon type, size of items. Heavy items should be kept in lower racks as far as storage is concerned. On the floor, when bay marking is done for people to walk, nothing should be in that within those two lines which are there for walkway. But away from walkway, wherever material should be stored, must be in a very thought out fashion, so that nothing is looking shabby and it is going to be useful. So how to organize? Decide name and place of everything and label the place. Organize material as per work. Coding as per color and shape to avoid mistakes. Use FIFO, first in, first out, LIFO, last in, first out, LEFO, last expired, first out, as the case may be. If two similar things are to be stored, identify separate color and store it two different places. For example, you have 12 and 12.5 dia bush. They look very similar. There is a possibility that when you pick 12 and you get 12.5 in your hand, it's better that you keep these two in two different shelves, clearly marking that what is 12 mm dia and what is 12.5 mm dia, so that right kind of product is picked up. Follow rules for systematic arrangement. Keep the product things item at pre-decided place after its use. This is a disciplinary requirement. Somewhere in the 4th or 5th S, we will discuss more on discipline. Use signboard, color code, outline, shadow, label to ensure systematic arrangement. Now, this also lets you go towards visual factory, which is very much in vogue these days. People have done marvelous job out of it. Their creativity into execution, and if workers are involved, they come up with very fantastic ideas, so that their workspace, if it becomes nice, they also become involved, they also become efficient. We also get our workplace much better way. Light reflection improves. So a lot of things come out if we have systematic arrangement. How items can be identified from distance: through line, through outline, through limit line, through arrow marking, through label with partition line, color coding, defined space for items, through symbols for place, type, quantity, similar to what we see in traffic rules, wherein a single line in between says that you cannot overtake. With broken line, we say that you can overtake. If there are two lines, you are prohibited to overtake. So those kind of rules are established in our highway. Similarly, within our company, we'll have to decide the color codes and lines. And if these rules are known to everyone, they will in future decide for any new thing in the similar way, and five-way system are established this way. Arrangement as per usage. So larger items below, a little lesser in size on top of it, and then on top of it. As per frequency of use, frequently used item must be stored near workplace. Others at distance, as I told you already. As per shape and weight, easy to understand. As per category, so if it is hazardous material, non-hazardous or prone to hazardous, for example, you cannot keep cotton waste near your oil. Even though it might be used together, these should be kept at distance so that if some kind of fire happens, cotton does not become a catalyst to flare up the fire in a bigger way. As per work operation, you should store all items needed in an operation at one place: Allen key, spanner, hand tool. As I told you, some kind of shadow board can be developed for this, and these tools are handy. Outline and demarcation line: draw boundaries around machine, cells and pathways. Right angle and straight line policy should be adopted. Nothing should be kept outside boundary. So as I told you, when there is a walkway, you should respect that walkway, and nothing should be on the walkway. That gives a very clean feeling, and people can walk very confidently. Once these things are practiced, people also ensure that they walk in walkway, even if they have to go 5 steps extra on a corner. Otherwise, generally it happens that if walkways are not visible clearly, if materials are overflowing the walkway, you also tend to walk on the corners, breaching the walkway, and the discipline goes haywire. Racks and sand: you arrange sufficient sands, racks as per need. Develop standards for height and shapes. Where needed, provide wheels to sand so that they can be shifted here and there. These things are very cheap or economical. We might feel that you have to get caster wheels, you have to get a lot of paint. So it might be looking like a daunting task, but when people start taking interest and they start doing things by themselves, minuscule costs are involved in it. Less than 0.1, 0.01% of the whole activity goes into expenditure, but the benefits are in percentages. So you are paid 100 times over or 1,000 times over the cost of putting up a 5S system. In the wire and duct, you can give color code. We have standards available in American Petroleum Institute or water line or chlorine line or those kind of things. So employ those kind of color coding system as is established internationally, and you comply with those requirements also. Machine tools, for example, gray or steel gray or natural gray, these colors are prescribed for generally machine area machines. So ensure that everything is spruced up. Decide tool placement such that it can be taken out by one hand and you are more efficient in working. Blade, dies, etc. If you are pulling out a blade and it cuts your hand, that's not good. So have some arrangement wherein blades are taken out in a holder. Use anti-rust treatment like oil to safeguard such items. Decide place of everything in work in process. Develop as per storage quantity. If you have excess quantity, that's a capital locked up unnecessarily. If you do not want it, control on production and go on housekeeping drive. That way, your people will be more disciplined and would not be harassed to produce more and more, even if the lifting is not there from the customer side. Ensure that no product is damaged and label is intact. Oil, this is a big menace in any organization. It's required because it is a lubrication requirement of various machines. But if anything is spilling from lubrication point or storage point, it becomes a health hazard. You might slip over it and might fracture your bones. It becomes a dirt hazard. A lot of dust of the environment sticks into the oil and the place looks very grimy and bad. Fire hazard, the moment there is a spark nearby and it goes on to oil, there is a possibility that the whole area flares up in a big way. So you have to ensure that oil is considered or taken care of in a very right way. Label with different type of oils, provide secondary containment, ensure fire extinguisher nearby, ensure proper labeling of oil storage areas, or oil cans, etc. Ensure cleanliness of the top lids and side walls of all the drum, because if they are going to be having any kind of oil droplets, it will become greasy and grimy with dust accumulated over it, and then people would not like to go nearby it. Similarly, monitoring and measuring equipment, label them and arrange as per usage requirement. In engineering, we say that if you keep your vernier caliper or measuring instrument on the machine, since they are hardened surfaces, machine is going to be probably damaged or affected in the long run. If it happens vice versa, your costly measuring equipment becomes deteriorated. Either way, it is not a good practice. Proper housing arrangement for monitoring and measuring equipment. For example, if you have vernier caliper or if you have any measuring equipment with a case, take out for use from the case, and when the use is over, again put that into the case. That is the best way of handling a monitoring measuring equipment. Some pictures, systematic arrangement issues. These are good ones. So everything is, or nothing is coming out of walkway. Table is little shabby, but yes, things are lying in a better way, relatively. Nothing is breaching the walkway in this picture. So drum is there, oil drum is there, but under that a tray is there. If there is any leak, it will be contained in the tray. This is not good. It is coming out of walkway. Not good. Similarly, not good. Looks okay. Not good. Computer, printer, files, shabbily kept. Ulti bhi rakhi hai, so they are upside down. Very common feature, very common sight in offices. Corners of production office or development office. You have a fan under it. Lot of files are kept. Cluttered table. Another example. So something like 5-6 heaps of paper are there and person is working. How efficiently he is going to work. With his file, some key would press, some mistake might happen. While implementing 5 ways, you can employ principles of 3M also. So in this picture, first picture, there will be more strain, and if the modification is done, the strain will be less. So you can have ergonomic improvement also this way. These are examples of shadow boards. how nicely they have implemented this, wherein spanners and brush and wire brush, etc. are kept. Gauges, nicely arranged, labeled, shadow made behind it. So if there is any removal, you would come to know what item is not there and who might have taken it, or when it should be replaced. Ideally in evening, everything should come back, or at end of shift, everything should come back. Simple methodology, if you put a ribbon from lower end to higher end at the other side of the file, if a single file is removed, you would know. If a single file is arranged in the wrong way, as in third picture, you would understand that file arrangement is disturbed, and you can do a right arrangement in a jiffy. So very simple arrangement, it can be employed by every organization. In the first picture on the right side, there are files which are kept one over other. They are kept on the side with their label looking on our side. This becomes better to work on, proper to retrieve, and would not disturb other files. Left picture and right picture. Left is something shabby, right is something proper. One-time effort, and always it is going to help us in improving our efficiency. Drawer of left table, drawer in the right table. As I told you, you can have space demarcated for each of the items that you need on day-to-day basis for office working. Similarly, this is a very common practice that switches are not numbered. We try to put on all the switches and then switch off one by one. If you are in a hurry, you would put on all the switches, go to your work, and you unnecessarily spend a lot of electricity in the process also. So label the equipment as well as the switch by which to put on. Cluttered office and organized office. Unnecessarily additional wires in an MCB or in a panel, but organized wiring in a panel. This will definitely, on the right side, the arrangement is going to be less accident prone as compared to the left one. Third, so we have finished 2, that is sorting and systematic arrangement. Third is CISO, that is shining and cleaning. In shining and cleaning, we don't say that you only clean, but while cleaning, you have to inspect during cleaning. And ideally, it should involve top management to lowest level person in the company. And while doing so, this will bring up a lot of commitment of people to 5S methodology or boards, or when you clean, you would come to know follies in the machine, missing screws, missing knobs, and if they are set right, your things are going to look much better. It reduces breakdown, it improves in safety, it improves in product quality. Lot of advantages happen. So these are some points where you need to take care of inspection during cleaning and set it right. Walls, doors, machines, plumbing, fitting and sealing, drawers and bins. Several are listed in this and going to be helpful with a much better way. As I told you, we should be focusing on inspection during cleaning. This will help find root causes for dust, burr, leakage, dirt. Why these so happen? Because the door is not closed properly. Why they are not closed properly? Because the gasket is torn, or the screw is missing, or there is a necessary hole left out because knob is missing. If we set those right, the dust, burr, leakage, dirt won't happen. or won't gather inside. So in 3S, that is CISO or cleaning, we ensure that we put a stop to such kind of activity wherein the root cause of gathering such kind of unwanted item or unwanted dust burr leakage is removed and things become right. Mind you, these methodologies can be useful in your houses also, homes also. So once you learn something, a lot of things can be applied to several places. So what do you work on? You work on dust, leakage, vibration, heat, color fading, discoloring, those kind of things, sprucing up everything. Everyone has to support and help in cleaning. Once GM comes on floor and he also takes a waste cloth, people find a lot of motivation. If the top management in a defined way, if you develop a charter and a program, then workers also get involved into this activity in a big way. So you have to go for intricate and difficult to reach places. Cleaning should be done at defined frequency. So oil should be cleaned, dust should be cleaned, tightening should be done, heat related matter should be taken care of. If needed, you can go for some kind of thermography and those kind of monitoring also to understand where you have to focus in a better way. If there are breakages and cracks in your civil structure or machines or structures of mechanical or infra, those things should also be taken care of as much as possible. Lot of pendants of crane as well as your hoist and machines, they get broken. Even the switch boundaries are broken. If those are taken care of, probably lot of health hazard and short circuit and current that people get, those will be taken care of. Gauge and meter dial breakages are also there on lot of machines. If they are also set right, the machines will give better results or better readings. Pneumatic, hydraulic, mechanical, electrical. So pick whatever is applicable to you from such kind of checklist and these will be good. Material is available with ICS. If somebody needs it, they may ask for it. And without picture, it can become very easy to refer. With picture, it becomes a very heavy file. So try implementing it, and I'm sure you are going to equipment. Some pictures where you can go for cleaning with inspection so that you improve upon your workspace. So a lot of oil is there. The reason there might be leakages. If you set that right, the area would not become so dirty. Under the table, working table, near equipment, very common place of a rolling area, pumps, under the machine, some kind of bucket is kept to collect probably the oil, and the bucket itself is a hazard in itself. If it is becoming full, it might tilt and come out. See, wires are there lying on the floor. Some joints are open, and if somebody steps on it, gets entangled, fall over it, there might be injury, and you may get a short circuit also. Dust on the pipelines should be cleaned frequently. Uncovered trench, outside area. So idea is that we'll have to be very careful about implementing third S. Generally, we do not pay a lot of time on shining and inspection. 1S and 2S, as I told you, become 70-75% of the whole 5S journey, and 10% of balance, that is 75 to 85, can be achieved through good shining and inspection activity. Fourth is standardization, that is CKH. So what do you standardize? If you standardize the colors, if you standardize the codes, if you standardize the lines, if you standardize the practices, the timing, the frequency of doing things for 5S, they are going to develop a culture of doing things for factory environment to be kept improved. So what we have done in 1S, 2S, 3S, we have achieved a level of housekeeping or a level of cleanliness. To continue maintaining or achieving that cleanliness, we'll have to standardize our processes of 5S. You have to develop policy for it. 5S standards you have to develop. So as I'm asking you, you have to develop timetable for cleaning, preventive maintenance schedule, housekeeping checklist. If the pathways are becoming blurred over 6 months' time, you'll have to have a schedule for repainting those pathways. Regularize 5S methodology so that systematic arrangement is not lost. So standardization is going to help you in 2S. Everyone understands normal, abnormal situation easily. So this is very commonsensical approach. Use visual management to maintain first 3S. This visual management is a kind of visual standard that you set out, sitting in the discussion with all the stakeholders, involve workers, involve helpers, even involve suppliers of such kind of material for like flex board supplier or paint supplier or radium tape supplier, and probably you will find a lot of material or a lot of suggestions coming out of it. There are suppliers in Mumbai, Delhi, and good places, small places also. Automotive companies have done wonders about it, what kind of arrangement they would like to have in their shop floor, and their shop floor is going, it looks like a kind of heaven. You can sit on the shop floor and take your lunch dinner over it. That kind of cleanliness these people maintain now with right kind of epoxy coating on the floor. Not a single drop of oil is visible. Visual management, scientific studies show that 66% of day-to-day work of human beings start with seeing. So go for visual management. Visual controls alert us. It helps us in recovery. It helps in following rules. It helps in self-management. What are visual communication methods? So these are all written: color coding, labeling, danger signages, whatever we use in road sign as well as ISO 45001 implementation. Lot of things are, and these are no rocket science. Everyone must be seeing one or other things. Idea is to implement those things in our workplace and religiously, without fear. You can develop symbols in such a way: triangle, filled triangle, maybe clean tools, maybe by hand if you are doing it manually. Lubrication, symbol can be circle. Then tools might be through a oil gun. Inspection, symbol, and inspection can be done by eyes or by listening sound or observing or feeling the heat on the machine. Ease in vision from distance, display items, products. Everyone can say what is right, wrong. Everyone may follow and make necessary correction when necessary. Workplace remains clean and organized. So idea is that this is a very strong recommendation to go for full 5S implementation. Lot of companies lose heat in 1S and 2S because they realize a lot of benefits in 1S, 2S itself. So that becomes 70-75%. But you tend to go back or recoil if you do not go for 3rd S or 4th S and even 5th S. So once you do all the activities, the going is going to be sustainable. Otherwise, you are going to recoil in your journey. So these are some examples of standardization. So log nut is painted so that if there is a disturbance, you would come to know direction of motor rotation, direction of valve opening and closing, visual communication sign, some examples. It helps in improving morale. It involves everyone's participation. We have come to the last phase now. So you need to develop habit of following 5S concept training. Small things need to be trained. Whatever rules are established, whatever frequency is established, people are not working. We have to motivate them, beckon them, say that besides production, this is also important. So even if you have a lot of production work is in hand, do not sacrifice your 5S activity. Develop 5S communication board if the people are not following them. Make them realize, put the names on board, review them. On the other hand, if they are following, award them, reward them. Take before and after photos. People like to see how much improvement has been achieved by their team. You can have competition between areas. You put up 1 point lesson. There must be visual standards and procedures available. You can have daily 5-minute and 5S activities. So Shitsuke, that is self-discipline, involves developing 5S communities, 5S training, competition, evaluation, dedicating 5S month, having posters, literatures, and these all are going to help you in establishing an environment to implement 5S in the right way. I've seen organization, I can take a name of the organization, Ben Joints of Bhopal, and there is a gentleman called Mr. Ganguly, Uttam Ganguly over there. He has achieved what you achieved through TPM and TQM through 5S. Such a powerful tool it is. If you go very honestly implementing each S, it is going to achieve what a management system also wishes you to achieve through different methods, and it involves each and every person. So you have several hands available to you to do this activity. To maintain 5S discipline, everyone should practice it so that it becomes part of life. As I told you, discipline is the foundation of success of 5S. Energy and time, efforts taken towards 5S can go waste if we do not have grit and discipline to maintain. So it looks easy because visually things are being done, but those who are designing it, those who are thinking over it, those who are standardizing it, those who are after the people, they need to have a lot of grit behind them to sustain this activity. You have to take a pledge to maintain 5S in workplace. I will decide place for everything and put everything in its decided place. Remove unnecessary items time to time from workplace. We'll arrange, organize, clean, and standardize workplace. So this was my presentation. And we are on time, 12:50, 2-3 minutes before. Yes, thank you. I invite questions if any, and then ask ICS team to.
Sure, sir.
Hello.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation and explaining the topic in simplifying way. Now I request all delegates to put your questions in the chat box, which shall be taken up during the discussion.
Yeah, cultural issues very much involved in implementation of 5S. So sometimes culture becomes impediment, and if people are working at their home, squatting on the floor, and if you do not want people to squat on the floor in your work area, their cultural conflict comes into place, and you need to work upon it, and it takes a lot of time. Yes. Cultural issue is definitely there. Hello, am I audible?
लाईव्ह नाही मारणार त्याला लाईव्ह आहे बघायचं का
Hello, Sumit ji, Jarna madam.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Can I have a question, please?
Yes, sir. You can tell.
Okay. Yeah. Yogesh Jain Saab, it was very nice presentation, and you covered all the 5 aspects of 5S. That is a very good. And somehow I would like to know, my question is that for the manufacturing industries, it's very easy to implement this 5S, even for the home front also. But when it comes to service industries, can you put little light on that one? In service industries, how we should apply these Japanese guidelines and standard? Thank you, sir. Thank you.
In service industry, as we understand that you have a lot of table work, computer related work. If it is a BPO or call center, there it becomes very important that you do not have a lot of clutter in your mobiles and laptops or systems. So companies take care of such kind of requirements wherein files are just not going to be developed unnecessarily. As far as service industry of services like pest control or those kind of Eureka Foop kind of water management systems are concerned, wherein you need to have spares and people go to places to service their clients, there it becomes a little challenging because you have to have a lot of spares and you get back a lot of defected parts from your customers. A right kind of 5S approach is going to ensure that these defected parts are disposed in timely basis, and unwanted papers and unwanted files are organized in such a way that only right papers are available, so that history is available to you whenever future need arises. So right service organizations or service organization with right 5S practice is going to be very immensely benefited with implementation of such thing. All S are applicable in their warehouses. 1S, 2S are definitely going to be applicable. 3S is going to be applicable when they are going to help their client organization installations. 4S and 5S are going to be helpful in designing systems so that their files are kept rightly. In some cases, the files are given to customers also for audit purposes. For example, in food safety, pest control agency is to give a file which maintains all the records of MSDS and health certificate and license, etc., etc. So if you have a checklist of what items are required for each client, and if those checklists are complied with, unnecessary trips to the client for same purpose, spending a lot of money and time is avoided. So 5S is going to definitely help in such kind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Any more questions?
In implementation of 5S cultural issued involved.
I have answered that. Yes, cultural issues are definitely involved. I told, for example, if people have tendency to work on the floor, sitting on the floor, and if we provide them tables to work on, sometimes they become uncomfortable, and it's a matter of cultural change that we'll have to make them understand and tell them how it is going to be making them more efficient and better. It takes a lot of mindset related working. Sometimes people work with one hand. Many people have right hand on as a matter of choice, but if you need to
No, Sumi bhai.
get practice of both the hands, you will have to
हाँ,
take people into confidence, give them practice and work on such kind of things. So cultural issues, lot of toilets of client places are found broken and kept shabbily. If you improve on their understanding and make them understand how this is going to help them in hygiene and improving their health in turn, worked upon daily on the cleanliness part, probably they will also start keeping their toilets clean. So cultural issue does play, and that is the biggest impediment, or that is the biggest advantage from implementing IF5, as I can say. Thank you.
A question from Yogesh Chandekar, sir. Is there any standard or guideline against which the organization can be audited for 5S compliance?
There is no standard checklist available, but yes, you can develop. Lot of consultants have developed, things are available online, but looking to your way of working and operations, you can develop something on your own and work about it. There is no standard available. Concept is available, examples are abound. You need to work out what suits best for you. So for example, we were doing 5 ways of a railway coaching yard for coaching establishment in Bhopal. And they developed a checklist. I have that checklist available. I was doing it on behalf of some company, and that checklist is also very good from 1S, 2S, 3S point of view for standardization and sustainability. They have to put in blood. Most of the things are verbal. Pardon? There are new practices, for example, the advent of new visual standards that have kept coming, and lot of printers are there which can give you kind of stencilized labels, easily available. A lot of people are there with a lot of visual possibilities are available. Those with like
Jansab, I would like to ask you,
alarm that
Yogesh,
all going to help in big way.
I would like
Yes,
to
sir.
ask you, is the question is continue with the service industries. When we see the call center or maybe consultancy companies, so there are a lot of things which plays very important role when it's come to the increasing the performance or the efficiency. There are few things like this utilities, facilities, what is provided to the employees. Then you use some of the soft skill and computers, mobiles and tablets. So I would like you to please put focus. Right, recently I was in US and I had gone to Seattle, and there is a Amazon, very old office is there, and the oldest office there. And I could see the employees were allowed to take their dogs, pet dogs, to the workplace. And they had the utility facility available for dogs, keeping them in their place and taking care by the people, so that their efficiency, they are not worried about their pet animals at home are being looked after or not looked after. So I want you to please give me, like this also very important service industries, your server communication and your there's a computer system, all these things. So can you put little light on this, because this is very burning issue when we do audit. So for the service industries, it's a little difficult. how to apply it.
I will
Thank you.
attempt, sir. I will try to. For example, we are into consulting. We are a very small organization and have been supporting over 300 clients in last 22 years. Now, every time we have, at any given point of time, something like 15 to 20 clients are there besides the older clients that come to us for servicing requirements of auditing, etc. What we have done is, or I have done is, in my laptop, I have a current client folder on desktop, in which whichever are current clients, the shortcuts are made for the folders of each of the client, so that I can reach to the client folder in a jiffy. Otherwise, I will have to go for something like at least 5 to 6 clicks. I have folders for standards separately, and a shortcut of that is also available in current client folder. I have a folder of accounts wherein billing of several years are there year wise, and a shortcut is for accounts also. So what I have done is, whatever folder is applicable to me on a day-to-day basis, a shortcut is there in my on desktop in current client folder. In a service industry like ours, as sir asked about consultancy practices, you need to be very fast in retrieving information and also organizing several information that you get in organizing and putting those information available to your client at the right point of time or smallest point of time. So if I'm working at a client place and if some information is asked, if I'm able to retrieve it within few seconds, and while working or talking to other client, if I can service my other clients, this is going to be appreciated or helped in a much better way. Similarly, I keep cleaning my desktop because it so happens that you download a lot of things and a lot of things come onto your desktop for your ready visibility until you service such a requirement. You would like to keep it on your desktop. So every third or fourth day or at least once a week, I remove all the files to right folders so that the desktop becomes least cluttered. Otherwise, when you go for presentation, the screen becomes less resolution and the icons start overflowing. Similarly, in your service industry of call center and BPO, it so happens that a lot of e-waste gets generated over years, and you need to take care of cables or keyboards or screens. And if they are just lying somewhere, probably you will have one room full of this thing. Now, these areas, your BPO and call centers are in prime location, which are accessible by metro or which are in near mall or within mall, and the space is at premium. And if you waste your space in storing such kind of unwanted items, it is a crime in a way. So 5S arrangements or 5S activity implementation is going to help you in removing unwanted waste, as well as you can look for ergonomic design of your workstations so that people work with efficiency. And if you label everything, since these people have a lot of attrition in call center BPO, you have something like 20 to 30% attrition on 6 monthly basis, and people frequently come and go. If you have right kind of labeling, right kind of systems in place, standardized work practices, people get trained fast, people refer those things very fast. Systems have labeled files, people are able to access those fast, and this is going to help them in working efficiently. Then you can extend it to n number of it's a very commonsensical approach actually. You have to find ways from your own understanding. In mobile, I write my client's name and then the person's name. Most of you might be doing it. If it is outstation client, you have to, I write the station name and then the client organization name, then the client name. So in the smartphone era, you can have huge directory inside your phone. Earlier, when it used to be a limit of 500 or 1000 contacts that you can keep in your phone. In one field, I used to have 4 or 5 phone numbers. So 5S can be applied in many ways, starting from your pocket diary to your diary in mobile to your diary that you keep in bag, then I have a small app kind of thing, sticky app, which is there on my desktop for current work to do, or some kind of GST to file, or some payment follow-ups to do, or some. So those things are also written. It helps. So 5S is nothing but doing things more efficiently, organizing your work, removing unwanted material time to time, and be available for your activities all time. That is how I have done it. Probably it helps you in understanding how it can work for service industry.
So I have a question, and इसका मतलब scope of 5S is not limited to something like a manufacturing sector or maybe the corporate office. I mean, the scope of 5S can be extended to digital space also, you mean to say? I mean,
very much digital space, very much.
And when you audit, let us say, just do a gap analysis of somebody. So should you audit the digital space also?
Should they allow it? Normally, the hard disk and servers have become so cheap that people tend to overlook and forego those kind of things, and behind the garb of confidentiality, most of the people don't allow those things. And when you try to audit, for example, physical things are understandable for us to see, but by seeing at file name, we might not be able to understand whether it is of use or not. So for every such entry, we might need to take help of the user to identify it. And if a computer has, let us say, 10 lakh pages in several files, say 1,000 files or 2,000 files or 10,000 files, it becomes very difficult to even audit such an area. We can definitely ask, what is your way of organizing things in your digital space, how things are organized, how you have given access to your people for their private documentation working, how company related working documents are managed and kept, how obsoletes are moved to obsolete folder, with what frequency you clean your recycle bin and obsolete folders, what kind of space management do you do, when do you requisition your new space. Ideally, we say that when 80% is full, then you have to either audit and clean, or if it is everything is useful, then go for higher space and develop a storage space. So digitally, people understand. A lot of people must be working who are on system side or utility side, but there is a tendency, yes. So a lot of people do not allow private storage space to most of the employees, and therefore the clutter just does not get developed over there. But legacy issues are also there in a lot of computer systems, which also generate a lot of garbage. Those things need to be taken care from time to time.
So I suppose I have to implement 5S in my organization. What should be my starting point actually? What should be the first instruction I should give to people?
Red tag, this thing, implementation. You have to first ask people to remove things, remove items which are in doubt. So if the item is not useful, remove it to a dinosaur burial ground. That is the first activity people used to do in the 5S. So bring out whatever is not available, useful right now, then decide over it through a red tag filling process, and then put them into the right place. That should be the first step. Then you go for labeling each of the places. That becomes systematic arrangement. Then you organize it in the order of shape, size, and applicability. That becomes 2S. Then you start with inspection with cleaning, or cleaning with inspection. That becomes 3S. Then you develop standardization. That is the visual controls, methodology, and your system about it. What should be colored with what way, and where it should be kept, and all those kind of way, what kind of label is required, etc., etc. And then you go for award reward system, so that it becomes a sustainable activity. You can go for competition, you can go for frequency decision for lot of activities. So 1S, 2S, 3S, 4S, 5S in this series, if you implement one of these activities one by one and keep them repeating, you can achieve the desired outcome.
The people often confuse, see what they say. Suppose you say, now there are three fads. One is quality, other is Kaizen, third is 5S. Now there are three basic, concepts on which generally medium sector works, MSMEs work. So first is of course basic certification to ISO 9001 and all. Then okay, at an advanced level, they may think of Kaizen. Then they may think of 5S actually, Now, can 5S be considered as a part of Kaizen activity or the other way around?
I would say yes, 5S is one of the first tool to be implemented in world-class manufacturing or lean principle implementation. Kaizen can be taken up parallelly. Some kind of Kaizen is involved in 5S also, but 5S is more of a common sense approach wherein everyone gets involved. Whereas Kaizen is a small idea for improvement, which can be done at a particular station by the concerned person himself and does not involve the whole company for doing a single Kaizen. Yes, you can have a Kaizen culture where everyone is provoked or motivated to give some kind of Kaizen ideas, and if they implement those Kaizen ideas, something would be benefited several times over when each of the idea gets implemented. But still it is going to be each Kaizen separately, whereas 5S is a methodology where everyone gets involved, and as a system you get benefit through the implementation of 5S as a concerted effort. So these are two different activities. You can run them parallelly, but idea is if you start with 5S, people would see that their workplace are clean and nice. Then a lot of Kaizen ideas would start coming in and they will be motivated to work in the betterment of the company also.
Okay, so my only question was, sir, कि अगर 5S implement किया and then we show that it is a Kaizen implementation, that you will not permit. What would you, because this is something very subjective. Will you permit?
I don't care, sir. I care if the company is benefited with 5S and if you want to name
Yes,
it
yes,
Kaizen.
great. हाँ, बस ठीक है सर, वही सुनना था आपसे.
I don't say, I say if you have
वही सुनना था. Yes, because this can be a part of, even ISO 9001 continual improvement, है? So that semantics is not important, as you say. Jargon is not important. What is important is doing some improvement, right?
Yeah, I have a point to add there. If you see, now Kaizen is a tool for improvement. Unless until the improvement tool is in place, how to implement 5S? Because that understanding is not there, and the 5S also has to be implemented at the grassroots level. Same thing, Kaizen is also at the starting from the grassroots level. So I feel both are complementary or supplementary to each other. We cannot isolate, and we can go for ISO without Kaizen system in place, without rather quality circle or quality tool, whatever, which are. So what you say, Yogesh Jain Saab, you being an expert, please put light on this one, because both the system have to be integrated. That's what my feeling is there.
Both are culture-oriented issues. Kaizen is going to help a person with continual improvement. It can help the company, but it will lessen the effort or improve the efficiency of the person involved.
And if you see my practical,
5S is going to give visual.
Yeah. If you see my practical experience, I spent almost 6 months in Japan, almost about 45 years back. And I had seen those Japanese, they had Kaizen in place, and then they implemented 5S. And I was visiting almost 5 factories in Japan
Come again, sir.
during my
Together
stay.
in this?
Sorry? Yeah, are you getting me?
No, they do what?
I'm
What they
saying,
follow?
my point was that basic tools have to be in place. And my practical experience in Japan about 45 years back, where I spent 6 months, then I saw in 5 factories which I was
Okay.
visiting, the Kaizen was the basic
Mhm.
tool which was available in all the factories. And then they had also implemented 5 years. So I felt
Yeah, what I was
looked
trying
like.
to say is, I have seen bend joints of Gopal. Now they try to achieve everything from 5S, as I told you, from TPM to TQM to even management systems through 5S. So जैसे हम बोलते हैं भगवान के पास जाने के रास्ते बहुत सारे हैं, भगवान एक है. So similarly, improvement or company excellence is going to be the ultimate goal that everyone is looking for. What path you choose is your choice. You can go through 5S, you can go through Kaizen, you can implement both of them. ISO is little minimalistic approach because ISO gives you minimal standard. But if you go ISO 9004, wherein additional requirements are there, and if you go through that also in a very aware way, that is also possible. So with this thing in mind, whichever you are most committed to, whichever tool you are most committed to, if you implement that, it is going to help you to achieve excellence in the company or organization. Hope I make sense.
एक Naeem Zakari का question है. I think we can take that question. It is a good question relevant to everybody. Naeem Zakari ji, can you read your question in the chat box? योगेश साहब आप देख लीजिए जरा, वो chat box में है. Yeah.
How to use 5S in auditing as per ISO 9001 2015. We cannot directly go for clean lines and sorting, etc.
See, normally organizations and those who are auditing 5S, certifying bodies are also auditing our 5S. They develop a checklist. So if they find something is not arranged in the right way, or if some labels are missing, so in the checklist they would write or tick whether it is available or not available. And if it is not available for one particular area or one particular shelf, even that is going to be considered as a non-conformity. So 5S audits are done by those practitioners, like we have also done, and it helps to understand with what completeness throughout the organization you have implemented each of the S. If something is missing, it can be pointed out in the checklist. The checklist results are shared and they work upon, and every 3 months or 6 months, if it is repeated, you would see improvement in after every auditing, and organizations get benefited. Any more questions, sir? Dr. Kataria?
अच्छा सब एक, then I can ask one question. उसमें ये है कि there is nothing like a certification for 5S and Kaizen.
There is a certification. People have started giving certificate. There is no centralized authority like ISO in the international accreditation forum or like that, people have developed their own checklist, and certifying bodies have come up with certification, though it is unaccredited, and there is no, so to say, centralized sanctity for it. But yes, people are doing the certification activity. If you have vendors, you can develop your own system, and you can provide your own certificate to your vendors also. That is also being done.
ठीक है sir, ठीक है, thank you.
Yeah, Jan Sahab, thank you very much. It was very nice. And what I should say, if you see Kaizen and 5 years, because it is certified, it can be certified, but based on the checklist, because these are both generic guidelines, and it has to be specifically applied for the organization you are certifying, whether service or manufacturing or schools or finance institution. You have to apply it, so that you have to pay, the certification body has to prepare a specific checklist and carry out the audit.
Yes. So the checklist has to be really agreed with the client organization, and probably a single visit or 2 visits would be required to develop the checklist also. So
Yeah.
you are so right. It can
Yeah.
be done.
That in the
Tailor-made.
first stage audit, when we do, that time we look into their scope and their facility and all those things, and what is their product. And according to, we agree with them, what are the department are going to be covered. And we asked, in fact, them, do they have checklist? And we follow their own checklist and try to verify how. And then in first stage audit, we also suggest them any improvement in the checklist, which is lacking, which does not meet all the 5 years requirements. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Great, sir. Great.
इसमें जैन साहब, when people see there, वही आपने बोला कि we have not to worry much about the overlaps. There are a lot of overlaps, in the 9001 system, Kaizen, 5S. And if you ask somebody, can you show us one example of Kaizen project? What they say is कि our CEO was coming, तो हमने यहाँ पे painting किया, हमने ये किया. So in these situations we get actually कि आपने painting किया, but can we really call it a part of Kaizen, or was it a part of the compulsion that CEO is coming for visit? अब ऐसे में आपका, what is your attitude in these cases?
Kaizen, as the word suggests, it means continual improvement.
Correct.
Ideally,
हाँ.
Ideally, Kaizen should shorten production cycle or cycle time. It should reduce waste. It should improve productivity. If those things are being done, then it is ideal Kaizen. But beautification activity, even beautification should not be part of 5S. 5S has to be more of systematic arrangement, sorting, removing unwanted items, so that you economize from that. Sometimes you can generate a lot of money or a lot of funds from doing 5S and replowing that in your beautification exercise. So if you are funding your 5S from your pocket, that's no good thing. Probably you have not understood the concept behind 5S. Ideally, it should pay for itself, or you should generate money out of good 5S activity actually.
Yes, I agree, sir, because the tendency is, if you ask people, within your own setup or outside, कि भाई Kaizen ठीक है, we took up Kaizen and all, and they said, ये देखिए, we had this fire exit, हमने उसका रास्ता short बना दिया, अभी पहले लंबा था, पहले वहां से fire exit था, अभी यहाँ से हो गया. Now उस समय क्या, we have no answer. We can't discourage them also कि अच्छा ठीक है यार, कुछ तो किया, some improvement you have done. But then selling it as a Kaizen project, that's what I was asking you. What will be your take on these kind of answers? What will be your take like?
Sir, there are objectives taken in ISO 14001 that we will meet our legal requirement. Now, meeting legal requirement is a compulsory requirement. What
Correct.
is
Correct.
there for objective to take in it? So yes, lot of such kind of practices are there in the market wherein people go with a different understanding, and you are so right, discouraging them becomes or makes consultant or this auditor villain. So some 20%
Yes, I agree, sir.
mixing will be allowed.
We have to, because नहीं तो क्या होगा, वो इतना भी नहीं करते हैं फिर, they don't do that
Right, so
also,
right. Yes, yes.
अभी क्या है, वही बात है,
I'm with you.
मतलब आप समझ गए ना, प्रैक्टिकली यू कैन
हाँ, करना पड़ेगा सर।
अगर कुछ भी
हमको भी
इम्प्रूवमेंट,
encourage करने के लिए, but हमको insist करना पड़ेगा कि this is one of the things that you have done. Show us another, and this can be 20%, but 80% have to be real.
yes, then we ask them, भैया, show us one project where
So
you
we
actually defined the
keep on
problem.
insisting higher and higher.
Correct. Where you
Yes,
identified a
yes.
problem, you defined the problem, you did some brainstorming, है ना, काइजन का जो 6 स्टेप 7 स्टेप रहेगा वो फॉलो किया कि नहीं आपने उसमें, so that
Yes,
I
yes.
think ठीक है sir, thank you.
ठीक है।
Yeah, I think we can pass over to ICS now for in case there is a conclusion to be done or any more questions.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was very nice session. Our next session is on 1st October 2022 on information security based on ISO 27001 by Dr. Sanjeevani Gogawale. She shall be covering why information security implementation tips for ISO 27001 and review of standard ISO 27001, followed by question and answer session. ICS is pleased to provide you all its research and development, integrated management system, QMS, EMS, and OSAS. Excellence in education management. ISO made easy in Gujarati, Marathi, Telugu, and Hindi. Feedback form. Please register on www.sadgunsang.org and go in your login and give feedback. On the behalf of the Sadgun Sang team, I would like to express my gratitude to all estimated delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. Now we officially close the session. Thank you all.